Audubon 2456.
We are back with State of the Save. It's good to be back. Game 2 of Season 3, Firewatch. It's going to be a great episode today. Once again, of course, it's Eric. And with me, as always, Michael. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
It's good. It's good. It's going to be a great show today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about on top of our game Firewatch, which will be, if you did not listen to the last episode, this is a one-shot. It's going to be a one and done, all about the game Firewatch. It's going to be a great show. I think I've been looking forward to this one. I finished this game in one night.
That's not something you often can do.
No, I do not live the lifestyle anymore of a man who finishes games in one night. I'm the kind of guy who plays like 2 hours here, an hour here. I got kids and stuff. So this game grabbed me. It grabbed me on a Saturday night. I said I was going to play an hour before bed, just get started. And next thing you know, I looked up and I was done with the game. So it's going to, obviously, that should be a little bit of a spoiler for how I feel about this here video game. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a great show. We got a lot to talk about. As always, let's talk about some games that we've been playing. Michael, there's been a saga.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
If listeners who have not had a chance to listen to the past 3 episodes or the holiday episode, you should probably go back and do that because they're great. But Michael's been playing through Death Stranding. And Michael, you have officially completed the Death Stranding.
Yes, I have finished Death Stranding.
Okay, so you have, now you sure? Because this is a Kojima game. So, like, it could be that you watch the credits, and then 20 minutes later, you get a text message that says, like, the game continues.
I've watched credits roll, like, 3 times.
Okay, so, obviously, the rule of 3 says that it's over.
And I'm back in the open world, and it's like, hey, you finished, here's a post-game save. Enjoy.
Okay.
Deliver packages.
You know, now just go do your job. Okay.
Okay.
We're not going to get super in the spoilerly of Death Stranding. It's not a game that we played for this show, so I feel like listeners sign up to be spoiled on the game that's on the title, not the other video games that we talk about. But I do have, like, some questions. One.
I have questions, too. Go on.
If you have not listened to our Metal Gear Solid or our Metal Gear Solid 3 shows, Michael, you are a big Kojima fan. You like Kojima. Mm-hmm. Do you like this game?
Yes. I want to say I love this game, despite about an 7 to 8 hour period that had me questioning everything.
Okay, is this a game that you like because you are amazed that it was made?
Or
is it a game that you like because it's actually a good video game?
Okay, so the first 6 or 8 chapters, I absolutely loved everything this game was doing from, like, a weird standpoint. Every single item that is in the game has a health bar. That I've touched on this before. Death Stranding is a game where you're delivering packages in the post-apocalypse, and Norman Reedus is there. A lot of Mads Mikkelsen is there. I can't hate any game that offers me a cutscene of Mads Mikkelsen in a Santa hat. I can't do it.
That is a kind of a guarantee, at least a 7.
Who comes in singing, like, Christmas carols with, like, alcohol in his hand. You're like, this is a good time. But, so, through most of the game, I was just having a lot of fun with the interactivity of the online aspect, because everything you build in the world is there for another player to see. But not always, because there's an element in this game called the time fall, which is rain that will destroy your equipment and makes everything it touches age, and deteriorate over time.
Which is a smart mechanic because it keeps the world becoming a clusterfuck of stuff that people build. Like, you have a built-in excuse to stop having, like, the cliff over here have 25 ladders on it.
Because sometimes you do end up with a cliff with 25 ladders, but at that point it's just like, this is fun.
Yeah, every once in a while it's like, look at all these ladders.
Which I only have so many likes to give. Which ones get my likes?
It's like, the The Norman Reedus God will dictate which light goes to which ladder.
I ended the game with about 30,000 likes from other players.
Hey.
Most of them went to a bridge. They really liked my bridge placement.
You should have put on the bridge, hey, this is Michael's bridge. Go check out State of the Save.
I couldn't do that. What I could do is go back to the bridge and place a hologram of a guy like doing a thumbs up or doing a gesture or any of the characters in the game and play like a song from the game soundtrack.
Well, that doesn't get us listens on this podcast, so I don't care.
Which Churches does the end credit theme, so I might just force people to listen to Churches. That's what I already do in my daily time anyway.
I'm about to say, that's just a Discord channel of you sending Churches songs, being like, hey, check out this album.
I mean, they all slap, so
okay,
we'll agree, disagree.
On the music episode, we'll talk about this, but that is not today. I guess my biggest question.
Yes.
Because I heard a lot about like the concepts in this game, but I want to know, hey, does this game tell a complete story?
Yes.
So do you have
a complete story? Yes.
So things happen. There was a beginning, middle, and an end.
Oh boy, there is.
Okay, but that sounds like a dumb question.
Yeah.
But like no one, when they talk about this game, talk about the story anything beyond the weirdness of the world and the weirdness of the concepts that are in the world. So like no one ever talks about like, is the story that it tells good? They talk about the weirdness, like Timefall and Norman Reedus carrying around a baby, but they never tell you like, is this a good story?
Last time I touched on it, I talked about like story versus plot. How the story is great in that like the world building and everything that surrounds like the world itself is like so tied into the gameplay in a way that I've never seen before. The individual plot, the beat for beat of the plot, the dialogue is terrible, but in a way that I do appreciate, but it doesn't become that way until like the last few hours of the game where it just goes off the rails, incomprehensible Kojima nonsense. But I like the ending. I really liked the ending. The last like 15 minutes of this game I really liked, but there's like a 8-hour stretch before then when you like go to the end and complete the chiral network, and where they're just like, because he was like, I'm going to throw a bunch of cutscenes here and an occasional burst of gameplay that has nothing to do with what you played at this point.
I have to sit here and wonder, because is it, like you say the dialogue is terrible, is it like Metal Gear dialogue where no one speaks like a real human being?
No one speaks like, yeah, exactly. No one speaks like a real human being, but it's, I don't know, I can forgive it in Metal Gear, but here, like, I forgive, like, a lot of it, but that, the plot is just, oh man, I can't go into spoilers. I'm not going to, but
I don't want to.
Can I just give one line of dialogue that sums up this entire experience?
Go ahead.
So you do your mission. You find somebody that you're here to save, and they make a reference. So like, we're like Mario and Princess Peach, but okay, so beaches are a bridge between our world and the afterlife. It's like a mediary or purgatory thing. Okay. So now you know what a beach is. So it's like, no, we're Mario and Princess Beach. Cue a slow motion run on a beach.
Okay, I know I'm listening to this outside of context, but how does that make any fucking sense?
It doesn't.
I feel like Kojima had an editor at Konami
with Metal Gear. Yeah,
and he had an editor, and that guy he probably has gray hair. He's been through the shit because he just had to follow Kojima around all the time and just calm him down a little bit. And this was Kojima with no editor, and now you get shit like that where it's just like like at Metal Gear, things make sense in the world that Metal Gear presents. Here, I don't fucking know, man.
If I wrote down the beats for beats of what happens in this story, you could look at it and go, man, that's really cool. And then you actually have to write it out and go, wait, we probably need to cut some of this. Like, some of the stuff is brilliant. There's a character you meet called Heartman, and his whole gimmick is every 23 minutes, he goes into cardiac arrest and dies for 3 minutes. And then he has a defibrillator chest that wakes him back up. And in that 3 minutes, he searches the afterlife for his lost family.
That is actually
That's a cool concept.
That is a cool concept.
So you're talking to him mid-cutscene, and he's like, "Oh yes, I gotta die." And he dies, and then you're sitting around 3 minutes in real time, looking at his place, like checking out what books he reads and stuff. And he's like, then later he's like, all right, so where were we? It just comes back from the dead. I'm like, that stuff is brilliant. I love that stuff.
I like the fact... I know so many people have talked about this game and how weird some of the concepts are.
Mads Mikkelsen is trying his best.
No, the concepts never bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, I like weird science fiction. And this was, like, right up my alley. The more of the question was, this is my last question before we move on. Does the game ever modify its gameplay outside of the basic concept of delivering packages? So is there a moment in which you are doing something more akin to like a combat?
You are fighting in the trenches of World War I at one point.
Okay.
So does that answer your question?
Yes. Apparently we go to World War I.
Yeah. Yep.
I would
no context needed. Just
maybe one day we do this for the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But do we have 40 hours to spare?
Michael, do we have 2 hours to spare?
Not
in the
really.
year 2022, we make time for what we need to make time for.
I don't know who to force to play this to get to the other side and be like, I want to talk about this to somebody. Off mic, I'll tell you all the spoilers you want to know.
Yeah, I would like to know some spoilers because this game is intriguing to me.
I still love it despite the fact that the game tried to keep me from it in the last few hours. Because every time I was like, I just want to stop. It does something great that makes me go, okay, just a little bit longer.
That's kind of a Kojima thing, though. Like, I know we've been playing through the Metal Gear franchise in, I guess, historical order, like starting off in the timeline at the beginning of the timeline. And, like, every one of those games so far has had moments where it's just like, I really don't want to do this anymore. I get your point. I get your concept. The concept is fine, but your willingness to take the concept to this extent, like I think about the river with the dead souls in Metal Gear Solid 3.
I get it. I get it.
It's like I get it.
Yes, all the people. I go good. I get it.
If it was 2 minutes, 5 minutes, cool. But like if you played that in a lethal fashion, man, that damn river was long.
You want to talk about waiting 20 minutes, holding forward on the control stick, wondering if you're doing something wrong or not?
Yeah,
as credits are rolling.
I feel like that's coming up soon, isn't it?
No. I'm talking about Death Stranding.
Oh shit! Yeah, I just feel like I feel like Kojima is one of those guys who is better with an editor.
I love that this game exists. I love this game, but if I continue playing this game, it's going to be in that post game save where I'm delivering packages and have like the whole world opened up to me. I will not probably play the story again, because if I want to do one of those boss fights, I can have an option in at least the director's cut to do like a boss rush or like pick a boss fight I want to do, because some of those bosses are like kind of fun, and then some of them are like really bullet spongy or blood spongy. Yeah. I should say.
I mean,
oh my!
I would love.
I sound really negative on this, but I want to emphasize that I love this. I really love what this game has done.
I mean, that's the thing.
Love that it exists.
That's the thing that happens with a lot of games that are like challenging to the norm, where it can be like the execution can be frustrating at the same time brilliant. I'm glad that you have finished it. Like I said, I would love that if we were a show that did more spoilers on games other than the ones that we spoil the hell out of. We would talk more in depth about things, but maybe we'll do that off mic.
And real quick, I had one more mission to go in Ghost of Tsushima. I knocked that out too, so my backlog is cleared for Friday.
Hey, yes.
When the Elden Ring emerges.
Yes, which is I'm going to watch your reaction to that game and then buy accordingly.
Sounds like a plan.
If you come out being like, this is a great video game, okay, I'll get it.
But
if you come back being like, oh no, I know not to get it. I've been looking at it because it's on the Xbox store, is like coming soon and stuff. And I'm like, we're just gonna wait and see what Michael does.
Smart. Tanner and I are getting that day one, so at the very least, we're talking about, hey, maybe we should talk about this once we get like 20 hours in or something.
I would love for y'all to do. Some people have asked me. We've not been doing File Corrupted this season. Just because, to be honest with you, I think we want to do something special with that and change up how we do some of the things. I know we have a lot of cool things in the pipeline, but we want to make sure that we have them ready before we release them. But I think a cool thing would be to do like that Elden Ring show with y'all two talking about it. Be very interesting to see how y'all feel about that game. I guess this is my turn.
I'll toss it your way.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to catch the ball here. So because I knocked out Firewatch in a night, I said, oh, damn, I got 2 weeks of time to fill with video games. I don't have to play anything for the show. And when in doubt, I go to shooters because I love first-person shooters. And so I was like, man, I've played a lot of Halo multiplayer. I'm tired of that. I thought about going back. I never finished the last DLC for Doom Eternal. I need to knock that out, and I was staring at that, being like, should I play through that? And then, because my heart's been full of so much love for Remedy Entertainment, Crossfire X came out for the Xbox Series X, and I was like, oh man, the campaign is made by Remedy Entertainment. How bad can this be? And then I looked up Crossfire X. I'm like, this thing's like this huge fucking game over in like Korea and China. They love this damn game. And I was like, sure, we'll download it. And then I was really confused. I finally got the thing downloaded, and I'm like, shit, like you have to buy these campaigns, and those 2 campaigns to buy. I said, well, maybe I should play some of the multiplayer and see, how I feel about it. Because if it's Remedy, right?
But just the campaign is Remedy.
Yeah, but I was thinking, like, okay, maybe that would be, it'll be worth it. Goddamn, Michael. I've played hundreds of first-person shooters. Probably hundreds of online competitive first-person shooters. This is the worst goddamn competitive first-person shooter I've ever played in my life.
I want to download this right now that you said that.
Okay, so I know this thing is popular, but someone needs to please help these people. Please give them better games, because it's basically Counter-Strike. With the concept that you purchase weapons with points that you earn throughout the matches. There's a classic mode which is almost controls exactly like Counter-Strike, and a modern mode that controls almost like a hybrid between a Counter-Strike and like a Call of Duty. Both are real shitty.
Which button's the melee on?
I do not even remember, because the controls on this are amazing. It's okay. So in the year of 2022, a console first-person shooter, there's some things that just should not be a problem, like aim acceleration, the ability to aim down sights in some semblance of an order.
Either left trigger or right stick, depending on control layout.
This is a piece of shit first-person shooter. Well, I had issues in just like tracking, because I had weird aim acceleration problems. Where my aim it would be going nice and smooth, and then all of a sudden jerk like 6 inches over, and I kept going to the settings trying to figure out what the fuck was going on.
My first thought would be like, am I having control drifts? Because that happens before.
There was also it felt like that, but it didn't.
Oh, no.
It wasn't that. The game had so many issues like loading in players that I loaded in before the entire opposing team on the first round, and I didn't know what to do. And the map is a direct ripoff of Dust from Counter-Strike, so I knew the map, and I was like, "Oh shit, I know this map."
Like,
and I went
very shamelessly.
Pretty shamelessly.
Is there a facility from GoldenEye? That's like...
Michael, I'll be 100% honest with you. I did not continue playing this that long to find out. But I went to where the enemy spawn was, and then like they were all standing there. And I don't know if they were still in the purchase weapon phase, but it did this to me the second time around when I joined the game, where I got stuck at the purchase weapon phase, where it wouldn't process my like selection. So the game was going on, and my guy was just standing there. So I just rounded the corner in the game and like shot all four people who I guess were just stuck at the weapons phase, and just shot them, and it counted. And this is like Counter-Strike rules, so that's their respawn. They're dead. It was amazingly terrible. And
I saw IGN reviews are hit or miss for me, but a 2 out of 10.
I feel like
nothing made me want to be like, oh man, I need to check this out more than anything like that.
I was like, well, surely this is just a mistake. They loaded the wrong version. Someone put up the alpha version on the store by mistake. And so I was like, I had to go to the reviews. I too went to reviews. And I went to a little bit different sources than you. I went to G-Man Lives on YouTube. He does first-person shooter reviews, and he did a review. He's like, this is a piece of shit. I don't know how this got made. And then he did a review on the 2 campaigns that you have to purchase separately. And they're
not a part of Game Pass?
They're about 90 minutes each. Well, okay, here's the thing.
Okay.
Maybe they are. Because I loaded the game one time, and it showed that I had to buy them. And then I canceled out of the game because I was like, I'm not buying those damn things. I loaded it up one more time because there was confusion among the comments of that YouTube video, and it said I could download one of them.
Gotcha.
So then when I did, nothing happened. But I don't know.
Great.
Michael, it doesn't
Fantastic.
matter because apparently these are 2 90-minute campaigns, and they're horrible, apparently.
Remedy, no.
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking at what they have to work with, Michael, from playing this multiplayer. It's bad. It's bad.
I hope they got their money up front. They were
God,
probably
I
like,
hope
we'll knock this out in this engine so we can make Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, and like they would take that money. But I was like, okay, crap, man, this sucks. I love Rainbow Six Siege. It's time to play Rainbow Six Extraction. Extraction, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Quarantine.
No, not quarantine.
No. It's Extraction, right? Dadgummit, you confused the hell out.
It was called Quarantine.
Yeah,
and then stuff happened.
Yeah, then we had 2-year pandemic, and now they're like, it's in bad taste. No, Rainbow Six Siege Extraction. I even convinced you and Nick to download this.
I played the tutorial.
I love Rainbow Six Siege. This game made me go back and play Rainbow Six Siege to make sure I still loved it. And hey, here's a spoiler. Rainbow Six Siege is an amazing video game. Still to this day. It's like 6 years going on 7 years that game's been out. Still a daggum good video game. They're still doing like HUD work on it. Like the HUD's changed in the past time since last time I played it. Like they're doing so much work on that game. High quality game. This is, I don't know who wants this. Because I went back and I played Siege again. And, Siege is this very tactical, competitive shooter. And then I play this, and it's a cross between a bad version of like a Left 4 Dead or a Back 4 Blood, I guess would be the more recent conversation. But it's so focused on stealth in a game in which enemies can hear you constantly. And then it's a game where, because it seems to be more focused on like a stealth kind of approach, when it forces you to get into big combat scenarios, you die from attrition. And there's a mechanic in which you lose your operator when you die. So when you die, when you pick one of your operators, and it only has a selection of them, and it doesn't seem to be many of the newer operators. Like it's a real pick and choose. Like in Siege, I play generally like my main offensive operator is Ash. I got a Lara Croft skin for. It's great, cool as shit. Well, Ash is in the story. There's a story. There's a very big focus on story here in this Rainbow Six game about fighting aliens.
I skipped like 3 cutscenes.
Yeah, they're not good.
I'm like, I'm one to enjoy a story, but not in my tactical military multiplayer games. I'm just like, I don't care.
Like Siege, they do little story stuff, and I always thought it was weird because now Siege is just G.I. Joe now.
I watched some of the short films with some of the operators, and those seem like really cool, like one-off things.
It's fine. They're G.I. Joe now. If you played Siege when it first came out, like I had it, like I think the week it came out, I bought it. And like everybody was like very based around like a real world special forces team. And like it was like, here's the FBI, and here's the Russian Spetsnaz or Spetsnaz or whatever. Here's like the German special police guys. And then slowly but surely is like, here's a lady who makes holograms. And here's a guy who's like super buff and runs through walls. I'm like, this isn't realistic at all.
I love that they kept all of them. So they're all just there coexisting in the world.
I'm not complaining. I played a shit ton of Siege this last weekend. I had a great time. I'm still pretty good at Siege. But here you have this mechanic where you lose your operator when you die. So you have to go back in the next time and rescue the operator. But the problem is, I had lots of issues where it seems like if you repeat a mission, it can vary up the different types of objectives you run into. And like I ran into one that was multiple objectives that caused me to set off an alarm basically and have to fight waves of enemies. And because the mechanic of that you carry over into the next room, you just take attrition damage. Like the damage is weird compared to how much you take, compared to how much you deal out. The enemy design is very generic and kind of boring. Like it's like the bio enemies, but it seems like an enemy you would see in like a Warner Brothers DC film where it's just like a generic looking weird alien guy.
Blue,
yeah. But also there's weird stuff where I had a hard time tracking enemies in the environment, due to like them blending into the blue black background all over the damn place. It was so far from what I enjoy about Siege. I just kept sitting there thinking, like, who asked for this? And there was an event called Outbreak. I
was going to ask that. Yeah, this is based
on
there
was an event called Outbreak that I think a lot of people liked. I thought it was okay when it played it. But, like, it was one of those things that it was fun because it was so different than regular Siege. Like, when it came out, it's like, oh, this is weird little limited time event. I don't think anybody rational was sitting there going, no, this has to be its own full-scale video game.
It's like if they did like, hey, we're making the sequel to Overwatch Soccer, based on that like Rocket League-esque event.
Exactly. It's the same thing like the Lucio ball in Overwatch.
That's it.
Which is, yeah, it's like if that's like your whole new game. And it just was very odd. They spent a lot of money on like big cutscenes of people standing around talking very serious about this ridiculous scenario that we're in. Mm-hmm. And it all has like your favorite operators from Siege, but they're all in crazy dealing with alien mode now. And it feels like such a weird departure for what I loved about that game. And it's not that I'm angry or frustrated with the fact that they made it. It was just more of like, who looked at Rainbow Six Siege, who's a very successful video game, huge player base still, and was like, you know what we need to do? Co-op, Back 4 Blood / Left 4 Dead style video game.
That's the new
with
hotness.
All your yeah, it just struck me as very just out of touch.
4-player co-op shooters, time loop games. Those are the two hotnesses right now.
And see how well they're doing. Anybody giving a shit about Back 4 Blood right now?
I haven't heard anybody mention that in a while.
Ain't heard anybody care about that. I can tell you right now, this one, I thought it was interesting that Ubisoft put it on Game Pass day one, because I feel like...
Was it day one or was it a little bit later?
Day one, dude. Because I was like, at first, I was like, ooh, that's cool. Good get from Microsoft. And now, after playing it, I was like, somebody had to know. It was very disappointing. I had a hell of a time finding a shooter to like enjoy, because I was really like, let's get my feet wet into something new here. And between Crossfire, which wrecked I was like, damn, this is terrible. Also, Crossfire filled with like the worst free to play shit, like buy skins, buy weapons, like not just skins for weapons, but weapons. So I imagine somewhere there's a broken weapon you can buy. Also, a lot of weird shit where I think there was some like, I wouldn't say hackers necessarily, but exploits or whatever. I got shot by people who shot me through walls a lot. And I was like, this is some PUBG back in 2020 shit where people are just hacking like crazy. But all this is to say that my heart was broken. My shooter-loving heart was broken. So I went back to Siege, and I was like, do I even care still about this game? And goddamn, that game's amazing. New season starting up in a couple of days here. Getting new operators still year 7, still getting new operators. Having a ball. So I'm back into the Siege mode, man.
That's awesome, but it makes it really hard when you like look at some season passes going, which year is what?
It's like I said, it's on season 7. So like I think the last season I played was 5 maybe. There was about 4 operators I didn't recognize. Mm-hmm. And we got back into it not long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe about in 2020, I think we got back into it. So it's been about 2 years. But damn good video game still. High quality video game. Speaking of high quality video games and high quality segues, let's talk about something completely different. We're talking about delivering packages in the apocalypse.
A lot of walking.
Yeah, being a samurai. I'm over here talking about shooting zombies in bad video games and shooting opposing teams, counter-terrorist people in good video games.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about a game that's about feelings and emotions. Because we like those games too.
Yeah.
Firewatch.
One might say one is at the top of our list.
Yeah. If you've not had the opportunity to listen to the ranking shows where we rank all the games that we talk about on this here show, number one currently on our list is Life is Strange, which I think people would be surprised at how much we enjoyed that game. You know, you listen to us talk about like my love of Doom Eternal and things like that, but we're multifaceted gentlemen here on State of the Save.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Yes.
Indubitably.
Yes, let's put it on monocourse here and talk about No, Firewatch. I love the hell out of Firewatch. It was a very emotionally resonating game with me. I think I played it in the perfect way when playing it with one sitting, because I got to experience the entire thing in a very like raw way. I really, really loved how it came out for me. Michael, how's your general opinions on Firewatch?
I really like this game. I wish I had the time to play it in one sitting. I divided it amongst 3 sittings, but I kind of divided it amongst like thirds. Like there was no time that was like outweighed it more than the other.
There's several opportunities.
Which was a good way to play it, I think.
Yeah.
But came away liking this game.
I think there's several opportunities that are good like stopping points in the game where you feel like, okay, this is a good place that I can hold up and stop.
There are hard day cutoffs, which definitely help like give like mild chapter breaks in there.
I tried to mess with you guys on Discord because you were talking about like, oh, I'm on day 3. I'm like, oh man, you gotta hurry. It goes all the way up to day 77. And I was just trying to like just be a little bit of a troll. But
now I will say, I mentioned this book when we were doing the prep. I did watch this game.
Yeah,
years ago, back in
I
2016.
feel bad for you.
And as a result, I wish that I could have gone in fresh again, because I remembered some of the big moments. Didn't remember exactly how it wrapped up, but I remember like, oh, everything they're building to is like a swerve and you're not actually in danger. And because of that, I was like, the weight of that moment was kind of lost for me. And I wished I could have like erased my memory of this to play it again. That being said, I still had a good time. It's like watching a movie you haven't seen in years, being like, I remember liking this, and watching it go, oh no, this is still really good.
I loved the story that this game told. One of my favorite authors, whose name just left my head, I believe it's Stuart Tudley. He wrote a book called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That's very, very good. But he also wrote a book, not last year, but late 2020, and I just read about a week before I started Firewatch, called The Devil in the Dark Water. I believe it's The Devil in the Dark Water. And this game's storytelling is very much in line with his book style of storytelling, where it's a mystery, but it's 2 books, the 2 books that he's written so far. It's a mystery, but it does such a great job of incorporating almost horror elements and the stress that it produces. I found like the middle of Firewatch to be almost stressful and almost intimidating at points, because it turns what I thought was going to be a game that was just all about relationships and emotions into this thing that gets sinister for a little bit. And then it changes back around into not.
It goes, it turns the dial and then turns it. It doesn't go in a third way. It goes back to being about relationships.
Exactly. But it does,
and
it in
how
such a
like
good way.
those darker moments can like affect those relationships.
Exactly. I really, really enjoyed that concept.
It's a very well told story.
Now, I'm interested throughout this conversation to see if there is any points in which it branches, because at the beginning in particular, there's lots of options where it gives you dialogue options to kind of set the story of Henry, who is our main character's past with his wife, who I believe his name is Julia. And there's lots of branching points here. So I want to kind of hit on this first, and let's see if we chose different options and see if that's something that affects things.
I think the best way would be to like take this day by day.
Yes, that's how I plan on doing it.
All right.
So the initial game is a intro that jumps back and forth between gameplay of you entering the woods to go take your first post as a member of the Firewatch.
It's a travel montage. Something I raved about Bastion for, saying I don't see a lot of games doing this. And then Firewatch does it in a different way, but an equally affecting way.
Great job.
Like going back and forth between, I was like, where am I exactly going with like the events that led you to where you are now, or Henry to where he is now.
Yes.
Henry's not a blank slate. He's a very well-defined character.
No, he's a great character too. So yes, you're right. It's jumping back and forth between the traveling of you leaving your home and going out into the woods to, as we're going to learn, take up your role as your new job as a member of the Firewatch. But then also jumping back and forth from just a blank screen with some music that's just telling the story of Henry and Julia. The story starts off pretty much in a one-way fashion in which Henry meets Julia in a bar. She's a professor, and it's a very kind of nice, like sweet love story. It's a story that, like, if you told someone about how you met your wife, it's a sweet version of, like,
he comes up to her drunk, thinks she's a student when she's a professor.
Yeah, and they start talking, and that leads to them going out together, and it does a great job of taking a long period of time. It doesn't ever state how many years it is, but it's over many, many years, and condensing it down into all these big moments or little moments even.
It's very similar to the beginning of Up.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yes. Well, those little conversations, like, Julia and Henry talk about having children, but they just never kind of get around to it. There's a particular moment that I thought was very fitting in which she is offered a job. And one of the selections is that he kind of like talks her out of it. And like she doesn't take the job, but it's not like, it's like almost like Henry holds her back from that opportunity.
Yeah, it's either you have to commute or you can't take the job because we're not moving. You could just because the easy option would be, hey, let's just move. We'll do what you want. But Henry doesn't want to do that, so you don't have that option.
Which, and I can, like, it's interesting. I like the fact that it doesn't give you that easy option, because in real life, sometimes you don't have an easy option. Sometimes all the options you have in life are kind of crappy in their own way. To little things like you get a dog in a moment in which you're mugged, and how Henry responds and how it sticks with Julia. And, like, I love that scene, because in that scene in particular, I had picked the dog that was small, or the beagle.
You picked the beagle, too?
Yeah.
You know I picked the beagle. I have a beagle.
Yeah, you have
alert.
You have a beagle. So I was like, at first I was like, should I pick the other dog? Because I know Mike was picking the beagle. But, yeah, I thought that was
I was like, she wants to name him Bucket. That's cute.
Yeah, I was like, that's a better option in my mind. But the concept that, the dog attacks the Prussian and gets hurt, and then in my option, Henry beats the Prussian up. But instead of him being this tough guy who just beat up the muggle, like, he breaks down crying, and neither of you ever really want to ever take that path again.
In my path, I chose Intimidate, and he faked, Henry faked that he had a gun and scared the guy off. And he, again, that was the same, situation. Like, it made them both uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's all, and I like that, because it's like, here's this life or death, or very big, intense moment. And instead of him being like the tough guy, he has a tough moment and then breaks down afterwards. It's very human.
Yeah.
And this kind of comes up to the big point, is which Julia starts to have issues at work and is eventually diagnosed with early onset dementia at 41.
New fear unlocked.
Yeah.
Thanks for that game.
And I love the fact that the game really hammers home the fact that she's only 41.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that's such an early age, A, but B, it nails down, like, about how long they've been together. And it really gives you a good vibe of, like, this is way earlier than you ever would anticipate having to face something like this with your partner. And then that's when the thing starts to really go downhill there, where you start to see Henry. There's an option which you can put her in a assisted facility, but I chose the option to keep her at home.
I hated that choice.
It's a hell of a choice.
I thought I was on that screen for about 3 minutes, like just staring, because I was at the point, because Henry says like there's a point there where I believe Henry says like he doesn't know what to do. So I chose the home because I was like, anything I can do to help in this situation. Because thinking about what Henry would probably be thinking in that situation is like, I'm not a professional. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is new for me. So I chose the home, and because of that, when Henry keeps constantly blaming himself to the point where he can't hang out with his friends anymore because he's worried that his friends' wives are saying, I hope you don't put me in a home like Henry did. And just that moment, both are going to be the wrong choice. There's no good choice there.
See, I chose the opposite choice.
Yeah, I want to know.
So with yours, Henry having the paranoia of judgment, right? That people are judging him for what he did. And for me, I kept her at home because I was thinking, we're both married men. I was trying to think like I would want to try to support my wife and be here. And instead, what happens there is that she gets worse and worse to the point that basically Henry has to put her to bed every night. But he can't cope because he's just lonely. He's just stuck at home watching her all the time. She can't cook. She can't do anything for herself. And he's starting to get frustrated because even though you love someone, that's a lot of stress to have somebody under, right? And so what he does is he starts at night when she goes to bed putting a chair under the door and going down the street to a bar and basically drinking every night. There's like a bartender down there that he talks to, and it never says that it goes beyond anything just talking to her, but it's just, you can tell he's like desperate for some form of connection and also escape from this reality that he's dealing with, where every single day is, he's taking care of this person who can do nothing for herself. And this leads to what the big incident for me is, which is that on the way home one night from that bar, he gets stopped at a DUI checkpoint and gets to prison for the night because he blows like a .10 or something. And basically the family, Julia's family, who lives out of country, they live in Australia, basically he has to call her sister because no one's there to watch her. And because of what he did, they choose to bring Julia back home with them to Australia. How does that scenario end up with your choice as you put her in a home?
So it gets to the point where Henry feels guilty, and then even though he shows up, starts showing up every day, she starts slowly forgetting him. And there's because of that, his and the energy of physically going to the place just to be constantly beaten down with the reminder that she's slowly forgetting you. He says he starts showing up less and less and less. And because of that, she's remembering him less and less and less. And he's like, is he just naturally fading, or is it because I'm missing these days that she's forgetting me? And and I don't know if it outright says it, but later on it is said that her family comes and gets her and takes her back home to Australia. So Henry's just on his own at that point. So.
The toughest line in that entire scenario that I imagine probably ends yours is when they take her back home to Australia, because the house is at a wreck in my scenario because he can't handle it. He's taken on too much. Best road to hell is paved to good intentions. He's trying to watch after and take care of her, but he just can't. The worst line, I think the toughest line is he says that Henry says that he'll visit often as much as he can. And then the next day you see an ad for the Firewatch job and you decide to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's such a great that's just the opening sequence of this game. But
all done through text.
All done through text.
Except there's one bit there where you go camping and you're posing and you see the picture.
Yeah, she draws photos of you, draws pictures of you, and you look at the book while you're out camping and it shows the pictures of you. And it's such it paints such a good picture of what Henry's going through, that he's running away, but I do think they do a good enough job of giving you a lot of sympathy for him.
I don't blame him for it.
No. Like
it's just like I don't know how I would handle that situation. So
he's going through a nightmare, and this is his escape. Like you can claim that he's running away from his problems, but damn, you probably run away from your problems too. So that kind of is the opening. That's the intro to this game.
Welcome to Firewatch, everybody. Jeez, that hurt. That hurts before you even get started.
Yeah.
So it puts you in the same place that Henry's in at the beginning, just like
I talked about that. I did a lot of hiking in my younger years and camping, and been in so many national parks and places like this. This game felt very real to me. It felt like a place I have been. So the hike in is just very natural to me. And then when you get to the Firewatch station, you get your first introduction to the other main character of this game, Delilah, who she is your supervisor. She is at the tower across from you. You can see her tower from your location. And we kickstart with day 1. You wake up. Delilah kind of gives you the laydown. And if you do not know what a Firewatch is, I don't even know if they do Firewatches anymore in the day and age of
like technology.
Because this game is set in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't even think they do Firewatch anymore. I know at a national park about an hour from where we are, there's a Firewatch tower on top of one of the major mountains out there, and you can see it from the highway and stuff like that. But I know they shut that thing down like in the late 90s because they talked about it used to be manned in the 90s, but then they shut it down. But basically their job is to literally watch the forest. They're in California. If you have paid attention to the news at all in the past 20 years, California burns pretty damn easy. So their job is to watch for fires, basically, and make sure that they get reported in a timely manner so that fire department and fire teams can get out there and try to contain them and stuff like that. So kind of a straightforward job. But it does such a great job of making such a peaceful environment. You get so accustomed to the tower very quickly. Delilah and your conversations over radio is very interesting. You can, when you find stuff out in the woods, you can always just bring up your radio and talk to her about it. And first day's walk, got some kids shooting off some damn fireworks. Stupid freaking kids. You can't shoot fireworks off in the middle of summer in California. So you get told to go down there and handle that shit.
First, you gotta look around the place, though.
Yeah, you gotta look around the place. See what's going on.
I pulled out the drawer, and there was a D&D map in the drawer and everything. So I looked that over.
A lot of hints of things that will be popping up later, for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is, did you steal the booze when you got there?
Yeah, I stole the booze.
Yeah, I was like, screw these kids. It's my booze. Put out the fire. They didn't even put out... Smokey the Bear would have been so depressed. Also, I wondered if Smokey the Bear is a copyrighted character they couldn't use because they have a little fireman dude as their Smokey the Bear stand-in. Yeah. I was like, do you think Smokey would have got mad if Firewatch would have used him in this game?
He wants his royalty checks.
Yeah, I know. As we get out there, we follow the path of clothing to find out that there's some kids, 2 teenage girls out there skinny dipping.
Because you don't know the extent. You find cans of beer waiting up, and you're like, oh, some shirts are here. Oh, some pants are here. Oh, some underwear's here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, well, I had to.
The escalation of that,
I brought up the game room crew. I was like, what this damn game rated? What are we about to get into? Because I don't know if these are underage kids, man. I don't know if Firewatch, you're pushing my limits of what I get into here. No, but very tastefully done. Everything's done at such a huge distance you can't see shit.
No, you never see a physical
person really
from this game. Yeah.
Well, you see them from a distance. You see the 2 kids here, and then we will see one more person coming up. Did you steal their radio?
I tried.
Yeah, you can just take it with you.
Oh, you just took it with you?
Yeah, I just took it with me.
There was no put away option, so I was like, I guess I can't take this.
Okay, so basically you tell the kids to buzz off. Like, hey, you can't be shooting fireworks. They call you a pervert.
Yeah.
because they think you're watching them and
like,
stuff.
Whatever, go on.
Yeah, but they you try to run them off. But you grab the radio, if you walk with it, and then you try to talk to Delilah on the radio, she'll comment over the fact she can't hear you because you're talking into the radio right beside the boombox going. So I thought that was a cool little
That's awesome
thing. Basically, as you walk your way back, we go through some caves. Henry talks about that he did some spelunking back in the day. I love the really good details of national parks, like the boxes, the lock boxes for the rangers, and how I do like the fact that the code's just 1, 2, 3 on all of them.
They're like, that's secure, and she's like, yep.
Yeah, and that was like, surely there's a point in which I get to one that's not 1, 2, 3, 4. And no, they're all 1, 2, 3, 4.
Except when Delilah later in the game when you get paranoid, she's like, I changed it to 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, it's like good job, Delilah.
I did try 0451 just to see.
Yeah. The first
I was like achievement pop or anything for this.
Like try to screw it up on purpose. The first time that we get any like sense of this being anything but just like a happy-go-lucky game out in the woods is on your way back. It's getting dark outside, and we run into a guy who's watching us up on a cliff with a flashlight. And there was a great sequence in which you call Delilah and you're like, "There's a guy out here," and she's like, "Henry, I hate to tell you this, and I wish I would have told you this when you first took the job, but you're in the outdoors. There's other people.
This is a public park.
This is a public park." But I love the whole response. It's just like, "Yeah, dumbass. There's people everywhere. It's a public park." But when you go back up to your station, someone broke into your tower. And this is when the game kind of takes a turn where it starts to do some red herrings on you. And something's very violating. Even though we've only been there for a day, the concept of someone being in your home, quote unquote, while you've been gone is
very violating.
Yeah. And it's something that this game does such a great job of is that sense of isolation.
And the sense of you never exactly know what the answer is going to be. You could immediately, you're like, oh, the girls, but you're like, wait a minute, it could have been that guy, too. Just the introduction of presumably Ned. Presumably that's Ned.
I think it's supposed to be Ned. Actually, I'm actually sure it is. He mentions it.
Okay. So, yeah. So, just the introduction of, just seeing Ned there, you never have a firm answer of what happened. I mean, it is said later that it's the girls. But in that moment, you're like, it could be, oh, but there was that guy too, so I don't know. It might.
Well, and what I like about it is the game hasn't established a tone for itself yet. So, at first, I was kind of taken back because I really went into this game being like, this is a game about emotions. And we dealt so much with our wife. This is a game about Henry coming to terms with his wife. And I did not anticipate any mystery to this game. Mm-hmm. So when you come back and it's broken in, and the voice acting of Henry and Delilah is amazing.
They're amazing.
They're just
so much chemistry together.
Yeah. And for a game in which you never come face to face with each other, that's a spoiler, I guess, but that's what we do here.
It's assumed you played the game.
Yeah. If you did, you're gonna learn all about it. They get so much out of just these two people talking. But the concept that when he comes back, he's like, what the fuck, man? Someone was in my shit. And she's like, what are you talking about? Is she... And I like the fact that she kind of very quickly, well, it's probably those kids. They were fucking with you. He's like, there was a dude out here, too. And she's like, of course there was a dude out here. Yeah. And so, for me, I was like, oh, man, what's going on here? And then the next morning, it kind of brings you back down a little bit. Because you wake back up, you repair your window, and...
you're hammering the nail, getting work done.
Yeah, it's very much like another bright, sunny morning.
Because I was thinking... Because I couldn't remember how this played out. I was thinking it would start out with you waking up every day, and the point that, brings you in at that moment is... Or individual moments is such a good choice rather than you playing full days at a time.
Exactly. It's a lot better to be able to skip around, and because also it lets these characters' relationship develop without you having to be through each and every step. We'll get to that when we get to some of the bigger time jumps.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, you're not fixing the window yet. But you wake up
that's
the
later.
next
Gotcha.
morning. Yeah, you wake up the next morning, and Delilah was trying to call the ranger station, basically let them know about what happened to your tower, and the phone lines are down. And at this point, I'm starting to be like, what the? Somebody's out here messing with us. And so you take your walk out there, take your hike, and when you get out there, you kind of realize it was the guards again, because there's a bunch of beer cans.
Yep.
You're like, okay, they out here.
Henry McCollum is like, this is cheap beer anyway.
Yeah, but I like also that Henry's like, damn, of course, and it was the kids probably broke into my tower too. It takes away the tension instantly. It's like, it's these two damn kids. And so, you're kind of hunting them down to basically run them off, right, And while you're in that process, you find a backpack that belongs to Brian Goodwin. You talked to Delilah a little bit about that. You learned that Brian Goodwin was the son of Ned Goodwin, and they were on the Firewatch duty about 3 years ago.
And he brought his kid against protocol.
Yeah,
so
a
that was
12-year-old kid. Delilah knew it was against protocol, but the kid kind of liked it apparently, and he was a good kid, so she kind of let it fly, because it wasn't like the kid was being held here against his will or anything. He liked it out here, so she let it fly.
And also noted here that Ned has PTSD.
Yeah, Ned was in the army, and he was not a friendly character. Delilah did not have anything really nice to say about Ned. She had really good things to say about Brian Goodwin.
Oh, she loved Brian.
My favorite thing is before Henry knows that Brian's a kid, she's talking about him a lot. He goes, it seems like you had something going on. She's like, oh, yeah, I was so hot and bothered. He was 12, Henry. He was 12. I really loved Delilah and Henry's relationship. But I love her, her fucking with Henry is fun. And I like the fact that never goes away completely.
Yeah.
Even as things get stressful, him and her having that kind of dynamic just gets stronger instead of getting disappearing.
Agreed. There's a bit here where Delilah's talking to somebody but still has you on, where she says something like, oh, no, I don't think he has any idea. And I asked her about it, and she got annoyed, and then got a message that said, Delilah's not going to talk to you for a while.
Oh, I didn't ask her about it. I was kind of listening, just trying to see if I could overhear more stuff.
I'm still trying to figure out what that was in the context.
I feel like that's a red herring. There's a lot of red herrings here. Some are better than others.
Because the whole point of this game is letting your paranoia get the better of you.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and that's one way where you're like, what are you saying? What are you doing about me? It's playing with the fact that also it's, of course, it's a game. So there's going to be moments here that's going to antagonize the player. But really, it's like, no, she's just talking to her supervisor.
Yeah. Or, there's other watchtowers.
Yeah.
So she's talking to the other watchtowers. I really like a lot of things in this. One of the things I like is the subplot between Ron and Dave, who are two people who are talking via messages left inside of the ranger boxes, where you're learning about how they'll get along. You can ask Delilah about them. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot going on here as you learn more about the history of this park and the people who's walked in these stations, the kind of people who come out to these kind of jobs, Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of really cool world building here. And like I said, I've done a lot of hiking and a lot of camping and things like that. And it does a good job of getting that, semi-tamed wilderness. When you're out there, you're in the wilderness, but then you're coming across things like ranger stations and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's people have been here and operate here, but you're so far away from everyone else that they might not be here for another 2 weeks. It's that semi-tamed wilderness that it's very interesting, and it brought back a lot of happy memories, and it worked extremely well for me, because at this point where things are fairly comfortable, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this kind of stuff.
It's nostalgic for you in a little bit.
Yeah, it was nostalgic. Yeah. And then when things take a turn, it, I think, impacted me even more, because I've been in situations where you're multiple days away from people, and it's that isolation of someone might be out here with you.
Can't get
terrifying.
Help. Yeah.
And so that's why I think it works so well. One of the things that kind of starts to make the turn here is You're basically told to run the kids off, get them the hell out of the park.
Delilah said she wants me to wreck their camp.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds slightly unprofessional, but I am here for it.
But I'm so glad she does that because it plays into the story later, the way she words it. There's a line in which, as Henry is approaching their camp, he goes, "We have entered the teen zone." And I was like, let's not talk about the teen zone, Henry.
Please, never.
What the hell? But I love the conversation around their campfire because as you approach, once again, they left the damn campfire going. But
gotta stomp it out every time.
Stomp that shit out.
You can tell Delilah, she's like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me."
Yeah, like, come on. Yeah. Well, with the Firewatch. But you read the magazines that they were doing, and you talk about like what's hot in the world of teens, and because you were remembering that Henry's in his 40s, and you're kind of taking it that Delilah's probably closer to your age,
around the same age.
So like, it's a very fun conversation. Like, you believe this? What the kids are good doing these days? Like, he's like, why do they got all the boys gotta be bad boys? She goes, it's some air of mystique. Yeah, why can't they be good guys? Like, it's just a fun conversation between two older people about what the kids are up to. But then it takes another turn because basically as we approach their tent, someone has ripped the shit out of their tent. Like, it looks like a bear.
Yeah, because you can see on your way to the lake the first time, there's like bear claws and everything. So that puts in your head, it could be a bear. So I wrote down 3 possibilities. I was like, either the girls did it to frame me. 2, a bear attack, or 3, that was the flashlight dude from day 1.
Well,
so I was like, that's all I got in my head. So,
but the one thing that told me it wasn't a bear is that the kids leave a message that says like, "You fucked with our stuff, Jesus!" Like, you weirdo.
Yeah, but it's possible they could have like left to do something, and then like the bear like had food in the tent and like tore it up.
There is multiple times Delilah mentions the fact this is bear country, because there was even a point where Henry was like, "What happens if I run into a bear?" And she's like, "Don't mess with it." You know? But like, so it is like a possibility. I like that there's a lot of red herrings here. But what my favorite thing is, here's this moment where it's like things seem off. You know, this tent's been ripped to shit. But, you know, hey, let's go on back. You know, I guess they ran them off. You know, she's very much like, well, they got out of here. Who cares? Probably a bear got to their stuff and they just freaked out. And I like that Henry's like, should I do anything? Should we report anything? She's like, nah, you know, they're fine. They're just a bunch of teenagers.
So I ran into a glitchy bit in day 2.
Oh, no.
I ran into some glitches.
I didn't run into any glitches in this whole time.
Some stuttering issues throughout the game. That's probably just because I'm playing a base Xbox One version of this.
True, yeah. I'm playing on the X.
Yeah. So there's a bit where I was like walking and I like clipped a tree, and all of a sudden Henry was just hanging. Feet couldn't touch the ground. I was stuck and couldn't move.
I ran into one issue like that when I was doing the rock climbing going down, where I stepped off of the rock a little bit by mistake, and I got stuck between 2 little rocks, like barely touching my feet. But I was able to do the Skyrim thing and get myself out.
I was trying, and I couldn't do it. I think I put myself deeper in like the bush next to the tree, and was like, I just need to reload my save. When I reloaded my save, Henry had every piece of equipment.
Oh no!
In his hand at the same time. So in his right hand was like everything that could be in his right hand. It was the compass, it was the electronic device at the end of the game, it was a part of the rope and the hatchet all in his hand. So whenever you hook a rope or something, he throws the rope, he threw everything in his hand, and then when he brought the hand back, it was all there again.
Henry is Thor.
Basically, except with just everything like in like a mush of pixels. Oh, the camera was in there too. Just a huge mix of stuff, and you're just like, what happened? Man. But I was like, oh, this is gonna ruin the entire game for me, because if I can't read my compass, then I'm kind of screwed. Especially during some like the late game bits. But I reloaded and it was back to normal. I was like, oh, thank God.
That would have sucked so bad.
Because I'm like, I'm about 2 hours or an hour and a half deep in this game. I could restart. I'll be angry if I do. Or I could just keep going with this terrible glitch.
I would have never been able to keep going. That would have ruined it.
So I'm so glad that reloading. Yeah. That was such a weird thing. I was like, oh God, please don't do this.
I'm amazed that it was something that was fixed by reloading the save.
Me too. Like,
That's something that to me doesn't strike me as it would be fixed like that. It would be something you would have to restart the entire experience. But thank God it wasn't a game-breaking glitch.
It wasn't a game-breaking glitch. It was just annoying enough for me to have to restart if it stuck.
That's one thing I want to use that as a segue real quick, though, to talk about navigation in this game. The concept that you use a map and a compass, and the game does a really good job, especially in these early sections, of having to kind of use that, like bring up your map and walk with it and use your compass and figure out which direction. It doesn't do the big glowing arrows or anything like that.
And what it does is it makes sense. Like Henry will make like notes on his map or like a circle. It's like, yeah, that's what you would do.
Oh, when you go to the ranger boxes, you can update the map on the box.
That'll show you like the opportune paths through each area too.
I love the navigation in this game. At first, I was like, ooh, gonna have to use a map and a compass and stuff like that. That's gonna be interesting to see how that works out, but they nail it.
And eventually you know the area enough to where you can mostly,
especially
as long as I have like the compass up, because you can have just the compass, not the map, and you can still like sprint.
Well, and also it does a great job a lot of times of giving you things in the distance to move towards. Mm-hmm. So like during the fireworks section, you can kind of track them by the fireworks. Like, oh, those are the fireworks, so I need to move that way.
It does landmarking.
Yeah, doing the smoke. For the fire, you can use that as kind of a landmark to track which direction you are on of the fire. There's a lot of so much smart design choices here, and maybe towards the end of our conversation we'll jump into that. At this point, the game decides to start taking some major jumps in days, so I'm gonna kind of breeze through these and hit up the highlights.
Day 3 is when we brought up the
Day
windows.
3, we fix up our window.
Very short day.
Yeah. Day 9, we get confirmation from Delilah that those guards are missing.
Yep.
And that's when things start to take a little bit of a more turn of like, and like there's a great conversation there where he's like, should we tell them that we talked to them? And there's a conversation where Henry said like, you should tell them that I talked to him. Like, let's be...
I said that too. Well, I was like, I want to cover our bases. Like, hey, we'll tell them exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because we're not at fault for any of this.
Well, and then she was like, she goes, well, I'll write up something and report, but I'll keep it vague. And like, you're like, okay, it felt like to a Dart's way of handling a situation. Because I felt like it would be like ridiculous for us to be like, we don't know anything. We never talked to any guards. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, we didn't do anything. Henry didn't do anything. So, like, let's be honest here. Just say, hey, listen, I didn't do anything. Let's tell him we did see him and try to be helpful. We jump to day 15, which is at night. And over the radio, we get a call from Julia.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a conversation that we have with Julia where, it's kind of incoherent.
Kind of hazy. Even now thinking about it, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure it was a dream state.
No, what it is you were talking to Delilah. You called Delilah in the middle of the night calling on Julia.
Because she starts out with Delilah and then the accent changes
to Australian.
Which, what I took it as, it does a really cool thing where it disorients you as the player. Because you're like, is Delilah drunk right now? And then I saw the text go to Julia. It's like, oh, I'm talking to Julia now. Well, how'd she like call in and everything? But
I was so confused because I was like, how did Julia contact us out here? Like it did. And while love is, it's a one-time thing.
Mm-hmm.
Game doesn't go back to the well on it. But I was so disoriented because I was like, how did Julia get a hold of me here? Like, we're in the middle of nowhere, like Julia, and like he asked, like, how did you call? And she's like, I just miss you, and it's just this disorienting experience. And you will find out eventually that you basically called Delilah in the middle of the night, calling on Julia, and you're probably half asleep or out of it. You're guilt ridden, so absolutely. It's a guilt ridden kind of.
It was I wrote very short conversation. I wish I could have talked to Julia more. Is what I said. Just in that moment, I'm like, man, I wish Henry got a chance to talk more. But then later on when we know that it wasn't, it was just like, oh, yeah, that's...
Yeah, it's day 33 we jump to. We're talking to Delilah, and that's when we find out that it was Delilah we called, not Julia. She tells you, like, hey, you called me a week ago, or certain, a little while ago, in the middle of the night one time, you called me, Julia over and over again. And this is when their relationship's kind of really growing a lot. You learn about why she's out there. She basically fucked up her relationship with a guy. She's running away from things too, which is like the kind of the almost the stereotypical reason people come out here.
Yeah.
Because why else would you spend your entire summer hiding away by yourself in a tower? You're probably running from something. And I think it's interesting that you're both opening up with each other and like explaining why you're here. And it kind of is what bonding the two people together, that they're kind of willing to be like, understanding why the other one has decided to come out here.
Yeah.
It's very human. We jump all the way to day 64.
There's a fire in this game.
This is a fire. And I love this conversation where you're talking about it. Your job is to monitor it, You're
just
and
looking
she's
at
like,
it. Yep, that's a fire.
And you talk about, what did you name the fire?
The flapjack fire.
I did too.
Because of the flapjack joke that she makes about that gated area.
Yes.
Where she is like, it must have been some flapjack or something. And Henry just laughs
like,
it off like, flapjack? What kind of insult is that? So.
Well, I love it too because it shows that they have inside jokes. They have inside little things. And this is when things start to get a little bit more romantic, I guess is the best way to put it. She's flirting with you, you're flirting with her. And as it fades to black, it's kind of, in my mind, presumed that things might get a little bit more sexual in conversation or whatever. You didn't have sexting back in the 80s, but you had sex radio.
It was like, how'd that conversation go? Because mine was like, I'm glad you're here, me too. And it was like, I wish we were there. I was like, what could we do?
And then she kind of starts to it's implied that she starts to describe what you do.
I love them.
No, but and at first I was like, it's inappropriate.
It's in a weird place.
Well, it's inappropriate for him because he's a married man, but at the same time, it seems like something that would happen. It seems in a mature realization that he's a man out there who's run away from his problems. And the only person you have to talk to is this woman on your radio. And you're lonely. You've been out there by yourself for, at this point, 64 damn fucking days. And chances are things are going to get a little bit
And it
heated.
did work, because I did pick like the more 4D dialogue options. And then afterwards I was like, was that a mistake? Oh, no.
Yeah, because you feel like, oh, man, I shouldn't have probably
Because in
done
that moment, I'm like, they have a good connection. Julia doesn't remember Henry anymore, but I'm like, he still has the ring on.
Yes.
And and there's a moment where you can see the ring sitting on the table there, and I picked up the ring, and I put it on as like a note, as like in my head being like, man, I took it too far, man.
But the fact that the game can make you have that realization of like, okay, I crossed the line I shouldn't have crossed.
That's great writing.
It's great writing.
That can put you in that situation as a character and make you think about, have guilt for a decision.
Have guilt for a decision and also not have it be black and white. Henry didn't just make that decision because he was horny. Like, this is a man he's
devoid of connection with anybody.
He's devoid of connection, and he's finally making a connection with someone. She is someone who's kind of running away from bad relationship problems, and she's made a connection with Henry.
They're both vulnerable.
They're vulnerable people who find comfort in each other's company.
Of course they would have like that connection.
If it didn't happen, it would have been a temptation anyway.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that they do it in a way that doesn't come across as anything forced.
It feels real.
And it's a very touching moment. And what I like about it too is we jump to day 76, and they're talking to each other now very familiar. Like, you imagine that this is probably a nightly thing that they talk to each other every night. Like, they're very close, and you can tell how close it is. He's talking about he's going fishing. He's just going fishing. He's been out here 76 days. I love the fact that she's like, why are you going fishing? She's like, I'm so sick and tired of eating beef jerky and cheese and stuff they leave for us out here. And this is when the game really, really turns it up to 11. We get out to the lake that we're fishing on. She's like, hey, man, there's a bear out there that we've been tracking. If you see a bear, let me know.
Could you fish? I picked up, I believe a note or something, and then my fishing rod went away, and I couldn't figure out how to get it back.
So, no, you cannot fish.
Darn. I was so upset. I'm like, I wanted to fish.
When you get out there, you find a notepad. Mm-hmm. And on this notepad, is a detailed breakdown of every conversation you and Delilah have been having.
And considering that this is the moment they cut to after you you have the flirty conversation.
Well, it's my favorite thing is that's the conversation he starts to read.
Yep.
He literally reads the lines, well, what would we do if I was there? And then and the panic kicks in. It feels so real. One, the violation of someone's been listening to you. And two, if you take into consideration the fact that Henry is having guilt of maybe forming this connection with this woman, with his situation with his wife and stuff, and that's now being known by somebody.
Including so like the whole keep it vague about like the missing girl situation.
Exactly.
Your head starts reeling the minute you realize someone's been. It's like when you realize that there's a camera in your workspace. You start thinking about like, did I do something here? Your mind starts reeling.
It's like if somebody went and read through your text messages.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, what did we talk about? Delilah, and like the panic of like, Henry panics before Delilah does. Because Henry's like, you don't understand. He's writing down everything we have said.
Because like a Delilah at first, like, yeah, no, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense.
But like, I love the panic that he has because it's so outside of what you think is going to happen. And as you're having this panic, bam, you get hit over the head.
Well, you find the radio there. That's not yours.
You find a radio, yeah. You find a radio that's not yours, and you're like talking to Delilah, like, no, there's another radio here. Someone's been listening. And then smack.
Fist to face.
This is when the game instantly starts revving up that paranoia. And I talk about that the game gets very intense for me. Mm-hmm. Some of it's because of the experiences of being in the woods alone and stuff like that. And like what that feels like when the concept of someone might be out here with you. But also it changes the environment. All this point in time, the environment out here has been friendly and warm and caring. You like walking through it's like a nice
like, oh, look at there's a raccoon. Hi, raccoon.
Like, yeah. And now the environment has changed because nothing has changed about the environment, but someone might be out here with you.
The way you perceive the environment is different. Like all of a sudden that fence, you're like, what's behind it?
Well, exactly.
What's behind that fence? Which is why, yeah.
You find a fence, and you did not know what was behind that fence. But now, damn it, we need to get in there because we need to know where this is coming from, who this is coming from. There's a panic in Henry. And I really, really enjoy the fact that, one, Delilah starts to panic slowly but surely. Mm-hmm. But also the fact that Henry is both... He's going to figure out what's going on, but he's not doing it in like a heroic method. It's more of like, we have to know what's happening because we need to maybe get out of here. We need to tell somebody what's going on.
We don't know how serious and this actually is. So we need to figure it out because the worst case scenario is really freaking bad.
Yeah. Like, it's like, this is not good. And then you like jump into conclusions talking about like, those guards went missing. Is the person out here have anything to do with those guards getting missing?
Are they trying to investigate what happened to those girls and then they're prime suspect? It's like, what could,
paranoia is
what
going
could
through
it be?
The roof.
Yeah. So there's a research station behind the fence is what you discovered, and Henry and Delilah are convinced it has something to do with the recorded conversations about them. She's like, it's connected somehow.
So
I do want to say one funny thing. I spoke my notes into my phone and it changed Delilah to the Wailer, so I have Henry and the Wailer written down.
Popular folk band Henry and the Wailer. So your next objective is to get inside that damn fence. To do so, you can't get the gate open, so you're going to go get yourself an axe from the firemen's camp, because it was fire camp, because obviously the firemen are walking around trying to put out the flapjack fire.
Yeah.
So this gives you an excuse to go over to the other side of the map. There's several things you can talk about here, little spots that you can talk to Delilah about. The fireman camp is inside an old Boy Scout camp, which also brought back memories. And this is when you also get some more information about the research center. The firemen were poured out because they were also kind of in charge of making sure the fire didn't reach the research center. And this is why you're going crazy with like what is going on. You're like, is this like a government cover-up place? Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Because like the
Yeah,
game,
of course, your paranoia like starts you small, and then it leads to like bigger. It's in a way, it's like a wildfire. It starts small, and then it goes out of control.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, I think you'll pick it up on themes.
What?
But I love the fact also that Delilah is starting to fuel with you're both panicking now, so that's feeling the panic, you know. And also the game does a great job of lowering the sun as this day goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So like as you're in the fireman camp, it's starting to get dusk, and as you head back to the gate, it's getting nighttime. And this is the point in which, is this the point which one someone's in your tower?
The last note I have here is Delilah says, "Get in your cabin, lock the doors. I will call you."
Yes. Okay. So this is after you get okay. So we basically you panic thinking someone's at the research station, so you go back to your tower.
Yeah.
Day 77, next day.
You
have been trying to get a hold of Delilah this whole damn time,
mm-hmm.
and she ain't freaking answering. And when she was there something you wanted to bring up?
Just something small. There was a bit in that last day where there is a missing sign, and she said, "Oh yeah, that used to read for a place called Pork Pond. People like to steal that sign and put it over a den or something." And he's like, "Why were you really specific about den?" He says, "Oh, no reason." Implying that Delilah stole the sign for Pork Pond.
Oh, yeah.
Just some...
No.
Because it took me a minute. Like, walk into the Boy Scout camp and be like, wait a minute, she took the sign.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
No. So I do want to go back real quick, day 76.
Yeah.
This is the point in which you are... No, it's next day, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Delilah is talking... When we finally get a hold of Delilah, you've been trying to contact her for hours. She's not answering. You're panicking because you're like, someone's out here. Did they get to her? You know, it's really getting... Something's worse about not even having the connection to her now. And this is when Delilah just answers, "Hey, good morning, sunshine." And she's talking very
weird, very
vague.
She
wants to talk about a sign in your tower.
Hey, do you want to look over the trees, the floral map? Just look at it.
Do you see that cottonwood there?
She doesn't say cottonwood.
But yeah,
she
she's
says,
like, you see
do you
that
see the
third tree on the left?
The third on the left.
I really love this sequence. And basically this is to direct you to a box.
You should go look for that tree.
And where you get a new radio.
Yeah.
She's found and acquired new radios with a new frequency. So
and
theoretically, you won't be being able to be tracked. Because that was the whole paranoia the day before is, even when you're talking about what's going on, you're like, someone's listening now. Like, we can't just, like, say where I'm going, because they're just going to, like, they might meet me there. And I found that so damn effective.
You pick your words more carefully there. Yeah.
Well, and also, though, the concept of, like, I have to get information, but the more information she gives me, the more likely the person's going to be waiting for me at the campsite.
Or use it against you.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where when you get the new radio, it's almost relieving in a sense. Like, all right, Fred, we can move forward with this. And that's where Delilah really lets loose. Like, you could tell she was holding it back. She's like, what the hell, Henry?
It's a very realistic conversation. Mm-hmm. This is also when she admits that she lied in the report.
Yep.
So she didn't really follow your advice about the guards.
I just told him we didn't see him. No big deal.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, someone's been recording us, and where we said we did see him. So.
And also they know about that time on the radio that you said you should go trash their camp, Henry.
Yep.
You know. All that's unrecorded now.
Real professional. If you didn't have that relationship, like if you had just gotten there from day one and all this was happening, it'd be easy to just be like, yo, my boss is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's that relationship you build over time and that like trust you build is where you're like, I can't just throw you under the bus for this. Because everything I say makes me look good.
Yeah, exactly. So we're basically heading back to the gate. We're going to get into that research central. Mm-hmm. Get to the research central, break ourselves down that gate, get to the site, and go inside. We gain a new tool with the kind of the frequency finder, basically, is what I guess the best way to describe it as.
Yeah.
And we learned that they do have a file on me, on Henry, and on Delilah. They have personality breakdowns in there. It's very government or well researched. You're really freaking out now.
There's like there's a piece of ankle monitor that it leads to.
You're like, what the fuck?
What's going on here?
And it's getting nighttime. Delilah makes a statement that we need to burn down the camp. And Henry's all for that idea until he starts thinking it through more. And he's like, no, if we burn it down, the fire will catch. And she's like, who cares? And he's like, well,
he doesn't say no right after that. That's the key thing. So like when we need to burn this down, he's like, it's pretty dry here. If I do it, it will go up in a second. We can't do that because it's a lot dry around here.
And she's like, who cares? And you go, if a fireman dies in the fire, I don't care.
Yeah.
And like I like that. It's like this panic, and then cooler heads prevail. We can't do that because obviously, it's going to be a problem. So we work our way back out of the tower there. I mean, from the site, and as we're leaving, the site explodes. Or burns, or catches on fire.
You see the fire there.
Yeah, so someone at the site has lit it up. Obviously, that's a problem. So we jump in time, correct? So
next day.
To next day, yes. Okay, I must have missed a mark here.
Because some of the cuts happen so abruptly that it's hard to remember exactly. But I believe it's where you see the fire, and then it hard cuts to the next day.
Yeah.
Where Delilah is so stressed that she is getting drunk.
She is
off
getting
of the tequila.
drunk off of tequila that she's been keeping in the river. Which is a great callback to a conversation that you and Delilah have about how she keeps her tequila cold. But yeah, it's a great thing too, because here it is, this panic. You feel like you need to be on guard, and Delilah just can't cope. So she's drinking herself into a stupor. And it's like a cross between understanding why she's doing this.
She's like, I'm going to get fired anyway.
But even then, I was like, dude, it's more about being fired. Someone's out here that can maybe kill us or something. Like, you need to get your shit together.
We need to be alert here.
Yeah. This is another jump I want to say after that, correct?
This is where your
wave
thing starts
into play.
It starts beeping, and you track it down, and you go through a little like crevice, and you find a backpack, and right behind that backpack is like an alarm. And immediately, without thinking, I hit the button to smash that alarm and be like, "Wait, this is somebody. What did I do? Is there going to be repercussions to this?"
I smashed the shit out of that alarm.
Just instantly, just did not think.
Shut up!
Then I did that and went, wait a minute, what? Should I have done that?
Inside that back is the keys to the cave. That backpack alarm also scared the shit out of me.
And also what scares you is this is where you get the call about the man in the lookout.
So she calls you, she's semi-sobered up, and she's like, Henry, she makes a comment about you just standing around in your tower. And you go, I'm not in my tower. And she goes, yes, you are, Henry. I'm staring at you right now. Because she can watch you through almost like a telescope. And you're like, I am not, Delilah, I am not in my tower. I'm out here in the canyon here. And she goes, Henry, someone is in your tower. And you want to talk about terrifying. Like, it's such a simple concept, but the concept that, like, I was like, I got the son of a bitch. But two, so fuck, he's right. He's in my base, my home.
You know what this reminded me of in a dumb way? That Metal Gear Solid scene with the elevator. Where they're like, where Snake is talking to Otacon. And they're like, weird, the wait sign's going off. Hey, also, weird unrelated note, there's a few of my camos missing. And
Snake goes, Otacon, about how heavy would 4 Special Forces soldiers wearing your
about enough to trip the weight limit. Huh.
Interesting. While that has comedy, there ain't no comedy in this sequence. Like, it's very terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's getting dark, obviously, because they play really well with nighttime and stuff like that. You get back to the tower when someone has taped a tape player with headphones to your front door. And when you play it, it's the conversation.
It's the blackmail about burning the place down. Just that moment of being like, this guy's like 3 steps ahead of me.
Exactly. And one of the reasons this is a problem is that fire is linking up with the flapjack fire to burn and get more and more out of control. So they like the fires are now linking, and also the water's getting smokier. Like the environment's starting to get, like you can tell that the fires are getting washed.
As the situation is getting more out of control, the fire is getting more out of control.
Man, man, Michael, it's almost like they were trying to tell us something.
It's subtle when you're playing it, but thinking about it afterwards is like there's no subtlety here.
It's so it's so well done compared to the way it sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Day 78. I want to say 78.
It's 78. I want to say, because I had like a double one written down at some point, because I think I had 76 written twice, so I don't know if it like went to 76 and I have 76.
I had that jump in time.
Or if it was 75. It doesn't matter. We're at 78 now.
77 was the jump in time for me. So maybe it jumps to nighttime on day 77, possibly?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Maybe. I had a double day. It doesn't matter. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things.
We're back on 78. D is freaking the fuck out. Delilah is peak paranoia.
Well, because she assumes that someone calling a report that ratted out Delilah would be like, Delilah will know what happened.
Yeah.
And then she's like, someone named Henry. And you're like, someone's pretending to be me.
Yeah. So even then you're like, she's kind of like paranoid on you. You have reason to be scared of her because you're like, well, maybe Delilah's not my friend. And now she's got reason to doubt you. Like, everywhere you go, you're seeing ghosts. And this kicks off the concept that now you got the keys to that cave.
Let's figure this out.
Yeah. So into the scary cave we go. Go venturing in. Someone locks us in the damn cave. And we got to get our ship. So we walk our way back out. And in the process of walking our way back out of the scary cave, we find Brian Goodwin.
Well, there's a little bit here, like, because you look down and see the shoe. Then you got to go up and get the hiking equipment that's in his secret, like...
You find Brian on your way there.
Bunker, you do?
Yeah, well...
On the way to the bunker? Because I may have done this differently then, because you have to get... Before I found Brian, I had to get the spelunking equipment to go down.
You have to walk your way back out of the cave, and then you will go back into the cave with the spelunking equipment.
Yeah, and that's how you find Brian. You find his hideout up there, because then it really shows you about who Brian was and his hiking equipment before you realize that he's dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I might be a little bit confused there, but yeah, you do find his little hideout.
Yeah.
This is where you have a lot of conversations with Dee about Brian and her relationship there.
And that's where Delilah says, like, yeah, I lied so that kid wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, this is also because you get the equipment, you're able to go back into the cave and you find Brian.
And you can't communicate with Delilah when you're down there. It's just a moment of, like, realization that hits over you.
And he's been dead from what looks like to be a hiking accident or climbing accident.
You look up and see, like, the snapped rope hanging down and the piece of rope next to a rock that just has the body crushed.
Yeah. It does not look to be foul play. It looks to be an accident.
Yeah.
Also, at this point, there's a point in which here you are told that the girls have been found. And that they're okay. They were just joyriding in some.
They stole someone's tractor and ended up in a jail.
There was just two kids having hellion activities across the southwest.
And it reminds you of the '80s, going like, why were they reported as missing? Because they were in a jail out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like it's not like.
And I guarantee they were like, I'm not giving you my number. I'm gonna get in so much trouble.
Yeah,
my parents are gonna kill me.
Yeah, it was
better to think I'm dead than.
This is the point which the game has really wrapped up the tension, and here's when the game starts to pull back the tension. Mm-hmm. After you find Brian, you come out of the cave and you have to tell Dee, and this is a very tough conversation because Dee instantly blames herself because there was a point in which. Dealing with the fires, the fire department's helicopter went by and saw Brian on the Firewatch Tower. He was waving at the helicopters. And they approached Dee about it, and they asked her if there was a kid out there, and she directly told him there wasn't. And so you realize that by her choices of leaving Brian out there, it led to Brian's death, basically. If she would have reported him, maybe he wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
No, it's not like she did it on purpose, but that's what it led to. And, it's really, you're starting to realize, okay, well, why, what's been going on here? Like, why is someone so, like, trying to record us and stuff like that? What's going on? Why is this all happening? And the following day, after this kind of revelation to Delilah,
you're getting picked up.
The fire is burned to the point that it's time to go. We have to get out of here. Fire department's evacuating all the Firewatch people. And, the smoke is just pouring in. And there's a conversation with Delilah where she's like, listen, you need to walk your way to my tower. We'll deal with this. And
on your way out, you get a blip again.
You get a blip again on your way, your hike out.
Yeah.
And you find a tape from Brian's father.
Ned.
And basically this is when it lays the cards out on the table. Well, Ned's been the one who's been following you, basically tracking you. He's been listening to your recordings and all this stuff. Ned never left. That was something we kind of left out, is Brian and Ned kind of fell off the radar one day, and Delilah never knew what happened to them. She just assumed that they
went home.
They went home. Ned never left. He's been living out here for 3 years. When his son died.
Guilt-stricken.
Yeah, when his son died, he basically never was capable of going back into the ward.
Because they thought they were going to put me in jail. It wasn't my fault. Stuff like that.
Yeah, so. And man's also already has post-traumatic stress syndrome.
On top of losing a kid.
And also losing his son. And, the conversation he has on the tape is it re-puts everything in context. Mm-hmm. He wasn't trying to necessarily hurt you. He was trying to scare you off so you wouldn't discover Brian. He's the one who locked you in the cave.
Because you're going to think it's my fault and then come after me. It's not my fault. It's a tough time for me.
Yeah, well, it's not even, I just can't face this. I can't go back to the ward after my son's death. I'm getting out of here. I'll move on. And you find his home that he's been living in. It's like a cave that he's made. Basically, his base of operations, a bunch of radio equipment that he's had in there,
like stripped for parts to like assemble.
Yeah,
all of his like equipment.
So he's the one who's been tracking you, and you talk to Delilah about that, and it's such a weight off of you, but at the same time a new weight. It's almost like it doesn't make you feel any better. It's like no one was out here hunting you. He was just trying to keep you from finding out what happened to his son. And you never confront him. You never fight him. You never bring him to justice. He moves on to go deal with his trauma someplace else, if he ever can deal with it. And now you have the knowledge of what's happened, and Delilah now has all this extra guilt. And basically, with the mystery solved, Delilah's like, okay, well, we still got to get you out of here. You got to leave. Walk your way to my tower. That's where they're evacuating everybody. And it's a great sequence because you pretty much hike the entire map with just
all the smoke
and the
embers.
You feel like you're making a journey to get your way back out. Mm-hmm. And when you're getting closer to Delilah's tower, there's a point where she calls you and she goes, listen, the first helicopter's here, and I'm going to go ahead and go. And I don't know what you did, but I was like, no, don't leave.
I said, wait.
Yeah,
wait,
just wait for me. I'm on my way. And she's like, I just don't know if I want to do that, Henry. He's like, just wait.
She sighs and goes like, okay, I'll wait.
And at first I was like, is she trying to like abandon me here? But then she says, no, there'll be another one back around.
They want to get me out of here.
Yeah. And so when you walk your way up to her tower, and when you get inside where she's been, she's gone. And you look around, and there's all these things that you've talked about with her. There's a photo she drew of you
based on your description. How did you describe yourself?
I don't remember.
I picked the ball player with the mustache.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how I did, but she drew, based on your description.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn about this woman that you've had this long relationship with, and as you sit down at her radio station spot, you have a conversation with her. You basically call her, and she tells you, like, I just couldn't face you, Henry. And there's a conversation about, like, she tells you to go see your wife.
It's really sobering conversation because she's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. You tell me something that I have to do. And then I tell you something that you have to do. We have to agree to follow through. So, I say that she should become a counselor. Just like, hey, talk to people. Like,
forget what I said. I want to say that, because he wanted to, he said next time, he goes, let's see each other. Let's, and she's like, maybe I'll come by if I'm ever in Colorado, or, it's like your attempts at trying to reach out to her and, like, try to save this connection go nowhere. You both went through too much, and the concept of facing you is almost
too much.
And for what she says to Henry, I don't know what she said to your version, but she was like, you need to go see your wife.
Yeah, she's like, you need to go to Julia.
And
Henry was like, I don't even know if she'll remember me. And I was like, you won't know unless you try.
Also, the way he says it, because the voice actors in this game are phenomenal. The way he says that is such a heartbreaking thing, because it's not callous, it's not angry, it's just tired. It's just, I don't know if she even knows who I am anymore. And it feels, we talk about, like, the night that you stay up and you talk to Julia, and that leads to conversations that you have, and how it feels, even though, Henry's doing something that's wrong, it feels still realistic and something that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
This continues that well-written of, like, it's not that Henry's a bad person. He just can't comprehend with what he's going through.
And
it's not
very relatable.
Yeah, it's not fair to anybody to tell him that he's, like, what he's going through is unbelievable. It's heartbreaking. And so he's just desperately trying to connect with something, and he's made this connection with this person, and even now now that connection's over, and she's like, you need to go see your wife, Henry.
You need to face this.
You need to stop running away and go face this. And as you kind of say goodbye to each other, the helicopter arrives.
Because I imagine what had him go through that was the realization that Ned never faced that. He ran away and then lost his kid in the process of that too, and now he's in a moment where he can't go back, or feels like he can't go back because just too much has happened. And I think it's the realization for Delilah being like, you should go to Julia, is like, we don't want to see ourselves become Ned.
Well, like,
where we feel like we can still go back. It's going to be hard, but we can do it.
Well, she even mentions, like, Delilah's been coming out here for years. Like, this is something she's done for years. And even she says, I'm not coming back, Henry. Like, she's made a decision to go move on and try to face what she needs to face in her life. And she's encouraging Henry to make that same decision. And the game ends with you boarding the helicopter and being evacuated from the park. And it is a beautiful game.
It's a great game.
I think it's a game that doesn't translate well to our descriptions. I feel like such an inadequate describing of this game's experience.
The experience is the game itself. It's so tied to you, like, physically playing it, and it's absolutely worth having a conversation about and talking about, because, like, this game really emotionally resonated with me, especially the beginning and the ending, which I found out later there's a point of contention about the ending. Like, people are like, I love the game up until the end, which I don't
see
get.
how. Like I felt cheated that I never got to meet Delilah, but it's how you're supposed to feel, because I think it's one. Delilah is who you come to meet by her voice and her conversation, and it's almost like it doesn't even matter what she looks like or anything, because you know her from just who she is. Like, it's the purest way of getting to know someone almost, you know? Like, it doesn't matter what she looks like. You know this person from the conversations and the meetings that you've had, or the conversations you've had. And then the ending of her telling you to go see Julia is the perfect way to end this game. It's about her encouraging Henry to go face what he ran away from. Mm-hmm. The beginning of that game is a man fleeing. He is fleeing from his problems. And at the end of this game, this person he's made a very deep connection with is telling him, you need to go home and face this. And you can kind of look at it either way. Does Henry go home and face it? Or does Henry don't? Does he still try to run?
That depends on your interpretation of Henry, but
I like to think that he faces it.
He goes sore, yeah.
That's how I would like to believe that.
Because it's a promise, like, hey, you do one thing I say you need to do, and I'll do that thing. It's like their last tie to each other is
that promise.
That promise, yeah.
And that it's a beautiful, such a mature look at relationships. And this game is a I hate all video games. Let me clarify. Not Crossfire X. But all video games are art form in general, in my mind. But this is a great definition of if you would like to present the four capabilities of this art form outside of just gameplay in story, because this is a story that works because you are experiencing it. The feeling of going through navigating the woods when it's a bright sunny day on the day 2, and the difference that feels on day 36 or whatever, when is someone behind that bush over there? No one's behind the bush, but damn it, the world has changed around you just by the knowledge of someone out here.
Yeah,
this only works as a video.
This only works as a video game, and I believe there is the movie rights for this game passed around somewhere. I'm like, this is one that would rob the whole experience, I believe, of the interactivity is part of what makes this
I don't
special.
See how that would work.
Then it's just an indie movie about 2 lost people in the woods.
And then a red herring of a possible, like, horror or serial killer or whatever you want to think is out there in the woods. But, like, I could not see Hollywood not wanting to
ramp up the stakes
and have, you know, like, I have a hard time seeing in a movie having it end with you never confronting Ned. Yeah. Having Ned just be a person you never actually see, other than that time you saw him standing on that rock with the flashlight. Like, Hollywood, I feel like, would have to have a confrontation of some kind at the end. And that's the story of this game. There's no confrontation. Because in real life, not all the times do you get to fight your problems. Sometimes you have to just cope. You
build it up in your head to be a bigger thing than it actually is.
Yeah. Your head. I was so stressed out at points in this game because I did not know what to expect. And I'm like, is there someone going to jump me in these dark woods? And in this dark cave, when that door slams behind you, is someone in this cave with me? And then when you come to realize what's actually happening, I went into my bedroom halfway through playing this, and my wife was in there reading. And she goes like, man, you going? I said, I think I'm gonna finish this thing. And she's like, okay, you can do that, I guess. And I was talking to her about the game, and she was very much interested in the first part about the relationship stuff. And then I was talking about, like, but there's someone I think out there in these woods, because I was at that point. I think I just got to the point when someone was in the tower. And it creeped her out. She didn't freaking like this. She's like, shut up. I don't want to hear that stuff. I was like, no, I got, like, someone's in my tower, man. But then after the game finished, I went back in there, and I was like, it was about midnight. And I was like, I finished the game. And I was telling her, she's like, I don't want to hear about. I was like, no, it's not what you think it is. Like I had to explain the concept of the red herring there, and once I explained it, it was just like you realize just like how much of a human story this game does. It's a beautiful game. You can play through this game with director commentary on.
It's something I might check out.
I wish I could find the time, but I would have a hard time breaking it up.
You'd have to see it all.
Like I feel like this. It's like
I feel like one thing I would like to do is find a playthrough of the director's commentary, pop some headphones in, and just listen to it while I'm doing something else.
I would love to listen to the director's commentary, just as a standalone. It's a beautiful freaking video.
This game's great.
It's an amazing video game. We've had some bangers first part of season 3 so far with Control and then this completely different games. But I love this game. I highly encourage people to go out and find it. You can play it on anything. It's on every console and every PC. You know, you can get this thing on everything. This is a damn good game, and
I agree.
Very emotionally resonating game. You know what we should do?
Play something a little lighter than this.
Well, yeah, but also we should keep the hits rolling.
We should
on season 3.
Let's do it.
So, Mike, what's our next game? Like, what? You know, we've played Control. We dealt with all the trippiness of Control, and then we learned something about ourselves in, Firewatch. What should we do next?
How about we dive into something that, as I was researching this, pairs very well with our discussion on, like, another game we ended up liking, Grim Fandango.
I love Grim Fandango, and so something that, Michael, what would that game be?
We're going to play Psychonauts.
Oh, man, Psychonauts, that would be a great game to play, Michael. I wish we had some notes and some information for the listeners to tell them about Psychonauts so they can get excited about Psychonauts too.
Well, I have a notepad pulled up here that has a bunch of this information written down haphazardly.
Man, that is so damn convenient.
Isn't it crazy?
Man!
It's like we planned for this or something.
No, Michael, we don't do that. We come up with these things on the podcast so listeners can say that they participated in the conversation. We didn't come up with this on a Discord a week ago. Not at all.
No, not at all.
Psychonauts. Tim Schafer.
Yes.
One of his.
One thing I didn't realize while prepping for this, that this is very much like going to be a sequel to our conversation on Grim Fandango, because I didn't realize this. This is the thing that Tim Schafer does after Grim Fandango.
Yes.
So
this is the first. Is this the first Double Fine game?
This is the first Double Fine joint. You want me to get into it?
Yeah, let's go into it.
Psychonauts is a 3D platform game developed by Double Fine Productions, and our story begins right after the release of Grim Fandango, with adventure games on the decline, meaning that Grim Fandango was a critical darling. People loved it, but it did not sell well.
And I will say this.
The writing was on the wall for that genre.
I love Grim Fandango, but that is not a genre that ages well.
And it's not I can't imagine that playing well at the time either. There's no way. I was like, there's no way these puzzles make sense to anyone.
Unless you played that thing with a guide. Like
we did. That's why we enjoyed it. If we had to play that without a guide, like if we set a rule early on, then we would never have finished it.
No, I don't think we would have got out the first...
We never would have left we would have gotten to the woods and... Man.
You think about all the balloon shit you had to do in the city. I don't think we would have got out of the city.
You need 2 balloons, not just the 1 balloon.
Yeah, I don't think we could have done it.
Oh, jeez. All right. So with adventure games on the decline and Star Wars prequels in productions, LucasArts was shifting to going all in on Star Wars.
They're like, listen, Star Wars is going to be the shit. It's going to be great. We're going to make really good Star Wars games. And a lot of bad ones, too.
They made some really good Star Wars games.
I will say this. They hung in there. Because Republic Commando came out. Remember, if you want to hear about Republic Commando, you can go listen to our episode on Republic Commando. Jedi Starfighter came out. Battlefront 2 came out.
Rogue Squadron. Jedi Outcast.
There's a lot of good games.
Jedi Academy. So... Not to dismiss, as someone who was a fan of Star Wars, especially in that time, being a like preteen during this era. There's some really good games.
Yeah,
some really good Star Wars
dude,
games.
Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 are some of my favorite games from the PlayStation 2. I love those damn games.
So a few friends of Tim Schafer discussed leaving LucasArts to form a new studio, and Double Fine was formed in July of 2000 by Tim Schafer, David Dixon, and Jonathan Menzies. Tim Schafer was inspired by the rise of 3D platformers at the time, but thought they were missing the depth of like adventure games.
Because this would have been the time of like games like Spyro and
Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64 kind of leading
Donkey
that.
Kong 64.
Yeah, Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
Way too many collectibles.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. The team worked for a few months on a gameplay demo, which swayed some of the Grim Fandango production team to join Double Fine. It convinced them to jump ship, like, hey, this is what we're working on.
Y'all want to get away from those damn lightsabers and come make some crazy shit?
Basically. The script was written by Schafer and a GameSpot writer, Eric Wopal, who had only written for a video game journalist website at that time, GameSpot, but has since to go on to write a few video games, including Half-Life 2 Episodes 1 and 2 and the Portal games.
Oh, so nothing of any serious note.
Just games well regarded for their writing, and this was his first game that he wrote with Tim Schafer.
I mean, that's
a sales pitch right there.
That's a hell of a pedigree.
Yeah.
I mean,
so the characters were developed by making fake Friendster pages. It was a visual way for Schafer to figure out the friend dynamics amongst the characters. Like, okay, who would friend who is writing on each other's walls, stuff like that.
The fact that it's Friendster, too. Like, it's even pre-MySpace.
Because I think he said in an interview that's where he met his wife.
He met his wife on...
I believe so. I read a lot of interviews researching this. So, the game had a long development with several roadblocks, the main of which was securing a publishing deal. Microsoft was initially interested in Psychonauts. However, the development milestones set by Microsoft were way too strict for a new studio. And Double Fine was also resistant to making changes based on feedback from Microsoft's playtesters. So it reads like a he said, she said sort of thing, where they're like, they didn't change their feedback in something, and they're like, their deadlines were too strict for like a brand new studio who's trying to figure things out. But also, you got to take into consideration, this was Microsoft's first console generation, looking at publishing deals too. And by the time things were shaping up around late 2004, Microsoft pulled the publishing deal because they wanted to focus on games for the upcoming Xbox 360 and get those licenses squared away.
I would say this also. Game industry was a lot different place in 2004.
Yeah.
Like, what you were expected to do as a studio compared to even now.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot different place.
So, in August of 2004, Double Fine secured a publishing agreement with Magisco. And remember, this game was originally being made with the notion that Xbox was going to publish it, Microsoft specifically. So the executive producer, Carolyn Esmerdock, described the final months of development as the most insane crunch I have ever witnessed, end quote.
Which is in a time in which crunch was just a thing. Like, sadly, crunch is still a thing that happens way too much in video game development. But at this time, it was just a thing that they just acted like was a part of your game plan.
Well,
when in doubt, crunch for 6 months.
Yep, pretty much. So the crunch was partly due to the inclusion of a PlayStation 2 port, which was out of the question when Microsoft was publishing. So developer Budcat took the bolt of the port development. And Budcat, I don't think they're around anymore. I looked into some of the stuff they did, and they were like a port house that developed like Madden games for handheld systems.
So basically, like, yeah, kind of like
they take some of the bulk of some of the work studios are doing. Yeah,
I don't want to talk junk about these guys because I think they do great work, but like a Deep Dive Studios, you ever seen them? Like, they're the guys who did the port for Quake. They did the BioShock remaster, stuff like that. Well, it's like they focus kind of on remasters and ports and stuff like that.
They're a studio whose job is to help studios when the workload gets.
And let's just be said, Deep Dive is a great studio. They do great work, so I do not want to talk shit about them.
Yeah. The game released on April 19th, 2005 to near critical acclaim. However, Psychonauts was a commercial disaster, selling 100,000 units in its first year.
Wow.
Oh.
Boys.
Retail sales for the game, physical in-box sales would top out at 400,000 units.
Whew.
Less than 500,000 for a game that was in development for 5 years.
I tell you, I don't know how you bounce back from that personally as a creator, because damn, 5 years of your life developing, putting your heart and soul, and then going through the hell of a crunch where you sleep on the floor and wake up, walk on the game, go back to sleep on your damn floor, wake up, walk on the game, you know.
Saying goodbye to like your family for that time to like iron out this game, 100-hour work week, stuff like that, and all for, it sucks even when it's good, even when the game is good, but at least there's a bit of hope that there's light at the end of that tunnel, and just to see that door completely shut at the end.
I think it's got to be worse even with the game coming out with a positive reviews, because you're like, we did it, we made a good game, and no one is playing this motherfucking game.
Yeah, so that whole thing. Double Fine gained the rights to Psychonauts from Agisco in 2011 and offered the game on digital storefronts where it fared much better. When the sequel was announced in 2015, they detailed the sale numbers of Psychonauts 1, and Tim Schafer detailed that Psychonauts eventually went on to sell 1.7 million copies, the majority happening 6 years after release.
Now, I will say this
over 6 years after release.
This is a game that people who love this game love this fucking game. So, like, here's a weird, like, example. But AEW has a video games YouTube channel. It's just AEW wrestlers talking about video games. And they did this year as their, like, most anticipated games of this year. And Psychonauts 2 was on there just over and over and over and over and over. I would say the only game that came close to topping it was, like, probably Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild 2. Mm-hmm. And which I don't even, Breath of the Wild 2 confirmed for this year?
It was on their it's coming out in 2022. It has a date on it, but don't ask for a month or a time frame.
But either way, but Psychonauts, it's a game that, like, if people love that game, they love it. But there is definitely a cult status to it.
And that's what I find the most interesting games to look into, games that I have no connection to that people love, and jumping in and being like, how does this play years later? Because we gotta remember, most, like, literally 90% of people, more than that, more like 90% of people played this game years after it came out. But whether you're in, like, where, if you only 100,000 people played this in the first year. That is minuscule in comparison to, like, the 2 million that eventually would play it. And that's sales in 2015. Think of how many people have played this game since Game Pass, or since the sequel came out.
Oh, yeah. I imagine a bunch of people jumped in and played it before the sequel. Just to kind of also point you, yeah, like, people experienced this game. You know, this is an original Xbox game. Mm-hmm. Like, the concept that people were experiencing this mostly after the 360 had been out.
Mostly on PC, on Steam, via sales.
Yeah, I would love
They gave it away for free several times. I think I got it when it was free at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that, yeah, it's
because I own it, and I'm like, I didn't buy this. I must have grabbed it at some point.
Most people have played this after it was out for a long period of time.
Yeah. So we already touched on this. The game developed a cult following and was given a sequel over 15 years after launch. So that is the real Cinderella story here. Game that just, like, eventually got to the point where they could make their dream sequel.
I'm glad that Double Fine is a studio that I've always respected.
They're the underdogs.
They're the underdogs, and they've produced some really damn good video games. I would still go to bat for Brutal Legend. I think Brutal Legend's a good game.
That's one we should visit at some point.
I would consider playing some Brutal Legend.
Another game that did really well critically and did not sell well commercially. That seems to be the studio's, like, mantra at this point.
But Psychonauts 2 seem to have performed well
on several Game of the Year lists, which has made me more fascinated to check out this first one.
Yes. So we'll be playing Psychonauts in a two-parter?
A two-parter. The stopping point is a boss fight with Kochmara, whatever you say this name, at the end of the level Lungfishopolis.
Okay. Oh, that makes complete total sense.
We'll write that down so you don't have to like try to Google what I'm trying to say.
Michael, help me remember to put that in the notes of this episode.
Exactly. So boss fight with Kochmara at the end of Lungfishopolis. The game is playable on Mac, PC, Xbox, all of them. It's available on Game Pass, PS2, the PS3 digital store that's somehow still alive, PS4 as a PlayStation 2 classic, and PS5 connected to the PS4 version. So you play it on everything except the Switch for some reason.
Yeah, which you think this thing would go well on a Switch, but
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So it's going to be a fun time. I think it's going to be a great show to do. Thinking about this being an original Xbox game, I didn't talk about Time Splitters 2. I've been playing Time Splitters 2 also. But we'll talk about that on the next episode. Yes, state of the save at gmail.com. Your email address if you want to send us an email at State of the Save on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can follow us on our social medias. All the shows, thanks to Hard Walk by Michael, all have time codes now. So if you would like to go back and listen to a show that, find a particular segment or something like that,
it is now much easier.
All the shows have time codes. That is very, very helpful. And it's a lot easier if you want to go back and check out old episodes. And so that's a great thing. As always, stay safe out there. See you on the flip side.